City to city, we making moves. Home of the goal and I got the groove. I hit up, did a trap on the move. They say I got a new attitude. I stay the drip and hop in the pool. I been on my level, ain't nothing new. Ice on my niches to keep me cool. They saying I got a new attitude. City to city, we making moves. Home of the goal and I got the groove. I hit up, did a trap on the move. They say I got a new attitude. I stay the drip and hop in the pool. I been on my level, ain't nothing new. Ice on my niches to keep me cool. They saying I got a new attitude. Yeah, city to city, we making moves. I made a goal and I got a groove. I hit up, did a trap on the move. They say I got a new attitude.
Hey, how y'all doing? This is Rick Sincere with MTMV Sports. Geek today to be joined by the entire squad. Well, almost everybody's here today, right? We're just missing a few people. You see Westside's already in full quarantine mode over here. It's time to rock, y'all. How y'all feeling today?
Feeling good.
Good.
Awesome.
Feeling good. Feeling great. Feeling great.
Right.
Feeling good. How about you?
Right.
I'm doing well, man. I'm ready to hop into this talk, man. There's so much stuff that happened this weekend. This may be one of the last weekends where we get this full immersion into like a sporting event, right? The NFL draft just took place. It was a phenomenal draft. The way they went about doing most of the stuff was cool. I didn't like the way they kept saying, this person was drafted. His brother was, beat up by 6 gorillas.
Oh my God.
Like,
Oh my God. Bruh.
I didn't
Can
like
I get into that later? Go ahead.
Yeah, we gotta get into that, man. But let's open up the floor, yo. So, if we had to kind of pick out a team that did the best in your opinion, like one team that did the absolute best in your opinion, we'll start off with the voice here. Which team did the absolute best in your opinion? Go for it.
Come on, voice.
I am thoroughly unprepared to speak about who did the best, in my opinion, outside of being extremely biased and talking about my Broncos, because they did the thing.
You wouldn't be wrong.
They did the thing, so I really can't talk about any other team and how well they did or did not do. But we got Judy, then we got see, I told you I'm not even prepared to talk about my own team. Will, who do we get? How about that?
You got Judy, KJ Hamler. Y'all got Albert O. I was like, when y'all got
right.
Oh, I was a little salty. I did pretty good, man.
Yeah, if I'm looking at your team, man, your team did extremely well, bro. I'll
say this: the Conrad's team didn't do too poorly either this year. It's like the first time in like
30 years.
No, more than that. In about 40 years that they drafted this well. When did Marino get drafted?
All glory to God. All glory to God. I just want to praise God for that one. That's all.
They'll find a way to mess it up, but they
felt like they could have did better, to be honest with you. But yeah. I'll ride with it, right? If you're looking at okay, so yeah, I think they could have did better for the most part. Hey,
I'll tell everybody your wife's name.
Baby's home. But yeah, so you got I thought the Broncos did well. Lord Christianberry, the center in the third round. I thought that was a good move for y'all. KJ Hamler was one of my favorite players in this draft. Like one of my favorite players. Now you talk about Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and you got KJ Hamler in the slot, and then you got on top of that Melvin Gordon, Lindsey. Yeah. Man, that's a bevy of talent. That's a bevy of talent.
Yeah.
Right.
If you look at what's going on around Drew Lock right now, bro, if y'all get that defense together, y'all gonna be straight. But that offense,
they added some defensive players too. That
they did
out of this world.
And we picked up a couple cornerbacks in free agency. Then of course we have the dynamic duo with Chubb and Von Miller,
yeah. But losing Chris Harris, I think it's going to count. You know what I mean? I think it's going to matter to you later on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, just like he stepped up, it's next man up.
Next man up. All right, cool. Jay Stevens, talk to me, man. Who did the best for you in the draft?
I'm kind of like the voice. Have to go with my own personal team, but it's all basically set upon Chris Ballard and the team and he's kind of constructing right now. The Colts had a few issues going into the draft. I knew they had to address the wide receiver position, some places on defense as my light keeps trying to fall down. Defensive tackle. There's some few things there. I did like the Michael Pittman Jr. draft pick and the very first pick. They did trade away. I think they traded the first second round pick they had. But Michael Pittman Jr. fills a need right away. The Colts wide receiver position was bad last year. Everybody and their mama got hurt. Didn't matter who it was, T.Y. Hilton or whoever was down there, they all got hurt. So Michael Pittman Jr. could come in right away, stay healthy, and he fits. You get Jonathan Taylor. Wisconsin running backs, they have the track record of being great, being physical, and they get in college. But Jonathan Taylor can come in, not expected to start, but expected to be right behind Marlon Mack to kind of have that two-headed monster that he's looking for there. Jacob Eason in the 4th round. Some say that was a bad draft pick, but I'd say it's a good draft pick, a guy that doesn't have to come in right away, be right behind a Phillip Rivers. You have Jacoby Brissett, who he can learn from as well, been in 2 different systems, so he can kind of understand and get the whole aspect of everything. But then don't forget, he traded away the 13th overall draft pick in the 1st round to the 49ers for DeForest Buckner. So even though they didn't technically have that draft pick, they did get a guy to fill a need right there in that 1st round. So they didn't draft the 13th pick, but they already got a guy that's going to be there, not having to groom, already knows the NFL, and he knows how to play. And Chris Ballard, once again, continues to mold the Colts into what he wants them to be. Ryan Grigson, the previous GM, trash. He embarrassed himself, and he really has a bad reputation in the NFL. But Chris Ballard coming in continues to just knock things out the park. And those are just a few of the picks. I could keep going on about more, but Chris Ballard and the Colts doing a phenomenal job right now.
I feel that. All right, yo, JT, talk to me, man. Who had the best draft for you?
Well, my Patriots, we did not, because we passed over like 18 quarterbacks, which I was very mad about. Like, what
is the plan? I don't understand it.
I don't. We had an opportunity to draft a quarterback. Oh my God, I'm not gonna talk about it. But the team I feel like had a pretty decent draft to me was the Falcons. Like they really addressed a couple of needs that they really needed, which was the defense. They went and got AJ Terrell, hometown kid from Atlanta, and then Marlon Davidson. Like, I think those two alone is going to have a real huge impact on the defense. I do expect AJ to start off the bat, seeing because, you know what I'm saying, who they got in the secondary. And Marlon Davidson, like, he played D-end in college, but he has a D-tackle build. You know what I'm saying? So he can be used either way. And then there's a safety from California. I watched his highlights. He's a real ball hawk. So I think they did really good in the draft. You know, they needed some defensive help because the offensively they're solid. You know, Julio, Calvin Ridley, so-called All-American, All-Star running back in Todd Gurley, which you never know who you're gonna get. So I think they were a pretty solid team after the draft.
Okay, I can rock with that. Let me see. Talk to me, Will. How you feeling, brother? Who had the best draft in your view?
I don't know. It's kind of like, boys, it's hard to say who had the best draft because I don't know if I really paid attention to all the teams like that. More so paid attention to the teams in the AFC West, and I got to go with Denver had a very good draft, and it's just interesting to see. Not even just the AFC West, but you can tell a lot of teams are kind of chasing the Chiefs and trying to but specifically more so the AFC West, seeing how many wide receivers that the Raiders took and the Broncos took. It's like we gotta do something to help keep up points offensively to keep pace with the Chiefs. But the thing is, it's like the common factor is it's always going to come down to the quarterback. Because what those coaches don't factor in, you can have great receivers and a lot of talent at the receiver position, but if your quarterback can't make the throws, and that's the difference between Mahomes and the other quarterbacks, not even just in the division, but the league, he can make off-schedule throws and different throws and release points where he doesn't have to be set, and he can get that throw off and be accurate with it. And so because there was a receiver the Chiefs drafted, well, not drafted, but he was undrafted. That's why I think the Chiefs really won in the undrafted free agency. They got a lot of the top players that were undrafted that were left over, the top ones. And there was a receiver named Lipscomb. Just a quick example. He went to Vanderbilt. Dude was balling. Times he'd be open. The quarterback was garbage, underthrowing him. And, you could see the frustration in Lipscomb because his numbers really tailored off, you know what I'm saying, once Sherman was gone. He had better numbers when Kyle Sherman was there, who was a better quarterback. But he had a garbage quarterback this season. And you could tell he had the talent but the quarterback makes a difference. So we'll see what it comes down to, man. The Saints had they got my guy Zach Bond. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, because that's who I was really kind of high on. But I'm glad we got Willie Gay Jr. So.
Yo, shout out! That's a perfect transition, man. Shout out to Kind of West Side for introducing those listeners, right? For the people who were here for the mock draft, if you heard it, then what you heard was Kind of West Side bring up that Willie Gay Jr. would be somebody in the draft that people pay attention to. Okay, West Side, talk to us about what you saw in the draft, man. What was your favorite thing? Your favorite draft class? My favorite draft class,
I would say it had to go to the Jets because the Jets did something that I'm glad they did. They replaced a dominant receiver in Anderson, and they got Denzel Mims, which leads me into the worst people in the draft, worst team to draft would be the Eagles. Eagles had Denzel Mims sitting right there for the taking, and Denzel Mims for the taking. It did not take him. Wind up getting Jalen Hurts. Now, Jalen Hurts is a good talent. I like him. Strong quarterback, somebody that you can rely on. At the same time, I mean, I wouldn't have went with him that high of a pick. I would have gone with a Denzel. So you have two dominant receivers, your first rounder, and all that other stuff. So that's all I got. And outside of that, I think that the people who were covering the draft were trash people. They found any and every way to talk about people's past or whatnot. I don't know if you saw T. Higgins. When T. Higgins got drafted to the Bengals, you see at the bottom, mom fought a 16-year heroin addiction.
Yeah, that was. I'm like, that's too much information, man.
Yeah, too much.
It's personal.
Get out of here with this mess, man. Like they
did that a lot.
And everybody had a story, and I was just like, yo, okay, look, I like the fact that y'all like to do sob stories, but I think ESPN has took it to the point where they're trash people about it, and they look for any and everything to make sure we can plug the heartstrings of anybody, and telling us, oh, stay inside, having singers and songwriters come up. Yo, let's get together through this, guys. Yeah, I'm like, look, man, I don't care what they're doing. I just want to know what y'all doing with draft. Talk about sports. Y'all are my outlet out.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about nothing else. I have to deal with this reality. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, the thing is, most African Americans, most of us, grew up in the hood. So everybody has some type of story or a family member that struggled with something when you growing up in the hood, or in a lot of them, you grew up in projects, and we don't, we don't grow up having a lot of money per se. You know what I'm saying? Or you're doing okay, but we're not rich. You know what I'm saying? And so, but just to put a lot of the information out there, that's just too much information. It's personal information. Everybody doesn't want people knowing that their moms are struggling with this. Allow them to, if they want to do a personal interview with them, and if they want to talk about that, allow them to do it in that frame. But to just put their business out there, like, yeah, and their mother, like, how is that news or something positive? Yeah. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't.
Yeah, do an E60.
Yeah.
One thing
it was distasteful.
I wouldn't even do an E60 with ESPN. At this point, I think ESPN is by far the worst. I mean, and look, at this point, I don't care if they call and say, hey, Conrad, you want a job? Oh, really cool. Y'all still trash. Y'all doing trash things. Y'all don't do this to people. Y'all really don't, because y'all literally try to come up off of somebody's story. And y'all want people to cry so bad and watch your doggone network so bad. Bro, stick to what you know how to do. Sports. I'm done with doing anything else. Just tell me about basketball. If you're going to do the throwbacks, tell me about how you felt when the Detroit Pistons beat the Lakers. Tell me how you feel when Boston beat the Lakers. Anybody beating the Lakers, just tell me how you feel. I don't want to hear about someone's tragic story because they're going through something. And I think
I'm sorry. I gotta interrupt just a little bit. That kind of is ESPN's deal, though. all the 30 for 30s, the E60s and all that. They do a really good job.
They do, because we're about to talk
30 for 30s. With 30 E60s, get on my doggone nerves. I'm not saying anything. 30 for 30s, they're golden.
Wait, we are about to talk about that this whole Last Dance situation is really not about the basketball. It's about all the stuff that went into. Yeah, it's about the story. So we're about to really dive into that.
That's a completely different platform. I mean, that's different though. It's like you're doing a draft. Like
right. Now, I agree.
Two different sides of the spectrum.
So I think the ulterior motive to me is probably an ulterior motive of, oh, look where they came from. When they get these contracts, they should be happy and just play ball. You know what I'm saying?
You think that's the underlying thing?
I think that it could be something like that.
Because I was saying, what's his name, Kinlaw? Like when they tried to ask him about his past, he said, "No, bro, change subject." Like every interview he had, he was like, "No, I ain't even talk about that because that's my past. I don't want to talk about what I've been through. I'm talking about what I'm about to go through now." And how ESPN was able to dig that information out, I don't know where they found it at.
That's a little bit different though, right? Like for some people, it's a little bit different because they diving into your past, like you did something, right? But I feel like sharing family information, I think that's probably far. That felt far.
That's going
a trash move. It's a trash move.
Did y'all see what he said on? Did y'all see what he said? And let me ask y'all. So he said, "I'm actually proud of my mom and her of her battling through that stuff. I'm proud of her, and I don't mind if they share it." Based on what he said, how do y'all feel about that?
I'm saying if he's okay with sharing it, then you know what I'm saying, I have no means with it because he's openly saying, "Okay, y'all can share my story." But if they don't get consent from everybody else, how do we know they got consent from everybody else saying, you know, y'all can tell my story? We don't. You know,
I think that was after the fact.
We'll find out real quick when they lawyer up, because I guarantee you, there's not a drop of information that they're sharing that they have not received from the family and or received permission to do with these newly minted millionaires coming in with all their handlers and stuff, just looking for an opportunity to make money.
Well, see, here's the thing: do they ever really need permission to talk about stuff that's public information? And you know what I mean?
True.
Because a lot of stuff that people go through or have went through is public information for everybody.
It's not necessarily public information. Maybe people in the neighborhood may know, but not everybody knows. Like
people,
like
people know.
If my mother struggled with an addiction or something like that, that's personal.
No, I don't know if that information from T. Higgins is information that he held and didn't tell. You feel what I'm saying? I don't think they found that out on the street from Pookie.
I think found that out for Dabble. That's a Dabble thing. That's not a him thing. You gotta understand.
Okay, I see you. I'm gonna just say this from T. Higgins. Here's what he said on Twitter: "I'm proud of my mom for turning her life around for me and my sister. I have no problem with them showing the world that my mom is a true fighter." And that's kind of where he came from with that on Twitter. Now, hold on, wait, I got to move on. But we can come back to this later on. But I got to ask this question, y'all. What was the most, and we'll just kind of wrap up with the draft here. What was the most surprising pick in the draft? Well, you saw something happen and you're like, that's crazy. The most surprising thing that happened in the draft.
Can you raise your hand?
Actually, JT, we'll go with you. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, since Benoit's on the line now, you know, she was heated by that first pick by the Giants. That was the funny, what Benoit was
I was at first, but it took some time for me to grow on me. I'm better now. Andrew Thomas is a good pick. I was just talking trash for months about Isaiah Simmons, so it was just a thing. But I'm good now. Thank you.
But the pick that shocked me, you said that shocked you the most, or
yeah, the one that shocked you the most.
Every pick the New England Patriots picked shocked me. Every single pick. Okay, so our first round pick, we drafted a safety from a D2 school. a Division II school.
That's a Bill Belichick move right there.
It is.
Jerry Rice was round 1 D2 as well, though.
You're right, but Jerry Rice, they knew about Jerry Rice's skill set. This man wasn't even at the combine.
Wait.
You was at the combine.
Was? I don't know. I don't know who he is. I can't.
Yo, the JT, I don't know, is the coolest thing ever, yo. My dude be like, what are they doing? I don't know.
This guy.
We passed up on so many opportunities, bro. Like,
Okay, so JT, did you want Jordan Love?
No,
That was mine.
honestly, I really wanted either Jacob Eason or Jake Fromm.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Because look, everybody, when we did our mock draft, people thought that was me saying that we was gonna select either Jacob Eason or Jake Fromm, right? But that pick actually came from you, and I just voiced it for you.
Yeah,
right.
The reason being because I feel like their skill set fits a Patriots organization. They fit our offensive style of play. Jordan
They
Love,
know how to cheat real well.
Hey, we don't cheat. We just win games. We beat y'all anyway.
We beat y'all too.
I mean,
We beat y'all too. Omaha.
My dude said how. My dude said how like he don't remember.
I don't. We own Peyton Manning. Anyway, we own Peyton Manning and the Broncos. Anyway,
Okay.
it's like Jacob Eason or Jake Fromm would have fit us because they are game managers. Jacob Eason got a strong arm, but he don't really read the field that well. That's something that they could have, developed.
You want a game manager?
Hey, I want a game manager, bro.
Eason was by far the worst prospect in this whole entire draft.
I think you wilding, Conrad. I think you're wilding out. To be honest with you,
you straight. You can think I'm wilding, but
no, I watched the film. And looking at
the film. I watched the film.
He's in the top 5 in this draft. To me.
Look, that arm talent is ridiculous. That's all I'm gonna say. Like when you look at
something's ridiculous about him, but yeah.
What?
I don't know about the arm talent?
Bro, the arm talent. No, have you seen him throw deep balls?
Like have you seen him play?
You seen him miss wide open receivers? You seen him overthrow doggo receivers? You seen him
do that?
No, short because he can't control his ball throwing skills. I'm just saying, like he's just
Drew Brees does that all the time.
No, he does not. Stop that. That's blasphemy. So let's move on. All right.
Can I say that the spicy pick that I went with last week the week before last with Jordan Love going in the first round? I did not know it was gonna be this spicy. I didn't know it was gonna be this spicy with the Packers. I didn't know it was gonna be that spicy. See, I went spicy, but they went spicy.
No, actually, I think you went more spicy.
Really?
Than they did. Yes,
that's too much spice.
No.
That's too much sauce.
I would be honest with you. You look at the situation, right? You look at Aaron Rodgers, who's old enough to where you can think about replacing him, right? Like he's old enough.
Now.
Yeah, he's just think about replacing him. Plus, he's been injured a lot, so Aaron Rodgers doesn't always. It's not guaranteed he's going to make it through a full season, right?
That's 3 months sauce.
No. I think we saw Brent Hundley. Like we saw his backup play. We saw that before. So and we saw that there's got a lot of talent behind him. So I don't think it's fully unexpected. I thought what you said was like a lot of sauce, right? Because you talking about a man. You talking about Jimmy Garoppolo who just led his team to the Super Bowl and him getting replaced by like you said D2 individual. He's not D2, but still he's somebody who's not on the same level as like a Tua or
because he's not part of the Power 5.
Yes, because he's not part of the Power 5. I question the people he's playing against.
D1.
And I'm questioning his productivity last year. Look at his productivity. Now he did lose a bunch of weapons, but still he made a lot of mental mistakes. So the arm talent is there, but I still question him.
A lot of stuff was him trying to make up. It wasn't more so because he was just doing stuff to just do stuff. He was trying to make up some stuff that he definitely had threw him in a hole, but he wound up throwing people wide open because the receivers weren't on the routes. But I mean, that's all I got on that one.
All right, cool. Jay Stevens, talk to me, man. What was the craziest thing you saw?
He just took it. That's what I was going to say. He took both of mine. The ESPN, the trash they did with talking about everybody's bad habits and things from their past. I'm going to talk about that again, partly because that's their day. Like we all have our day with something. We get something, our birthday or some people may get married. That's our day. We want things to go a certain way, all the bad things, their relationships, things like that. We don't want that stuff to be talked about. And if someone comes in that's an outsider that's just running their mouth, all of a sudden they're messing things up. And ESPN, it seems like every single time they're bringing up bad things. And it was like, and Westside said it perfectly. This was our getaway. And this is part of the reason why the draft had 55 million viewers over the 3-day span. I mean, everybody watched it. And in the midst of us trying to escape from the virus, escape from all that kind of stuff, all the nonsense throughout the day, we got to turn this on and hear about somebody's drug addiction that they've overcome, hear about somebody's issues that they've had. We don't need that. So he kind of took it, but that was like my same thing. Like, we don't need those issues. We don't need you guys to bring up the negative. This is what we need. Just bring up all the positive and go over the top. If you want to bring up things that nobody else knows before, talk about all the guys that have 4.0 GPAs, but you're talking about the negative stuff, but all these guys that it's you like, oh yeah, we're bringing up the story. Yeah, but ultimately you guys are looking bad for what you're putting right in front of us at this time. I had to get that off my chest.
I feel you. I see y'all both mad about that.
Facts.
It was bad, bro. It was bad.
Look. Honestly,
It was on every other seconds. It wasn't like it was like every 45 picks. It was like pick one, pick two. Oh, he has a struggle. Pick one, pick two. Oh, there's another struggle. Oh, right here, right. Oh, there's another struggle. It was just struggle city. We was all struggling. I'm just like,
yeah.
I just wish they had to focus more on the football side and talked about their skills, what they do on the football field versus, bringing some of the stories to in front of millions.
Absolutely. Vanora, talk to us. What was the most surprising pick for you?
Everything the Packers did disgusted me. Disrespecting Aaron Rodgers, it's just nasty. They did not get a receiver. That's what they needed, was a receiver. Like, everybody forgot that Aaron Rodgers brought the Packers to the NFC Championship. We all forget that. But I guess that they did. And I have nothing against Jordan Love at all. Like, I want him to get drafted, but he ain't got no business being in a Packers uniform. I'm disgusted with that. That threw me off. And for them to still not get Aaron any weapons, and they expect Aaron to win a Super Bowl with no weapons, I mean, come on, man. Like, the Packers really let me down. I was disgusted with that. And again, back to how these players are being treated. Like you guys said, this is their day. Why are you bringing up how you had all week, the path to the draft and all the other programs talk about the being at the bottom, being so-and-so homeless and yada, yada, yada. You don't got to do that on their day. That's like kind of like on your wedding day, someone say, oh, yeah, he's a crackhead. Like, why would you say that? That's not necessary. Like,
she's right, though. She's exactly right. Same thing.
Suki and him.
Like, I was like, okay, like, yeah, okay, so his mom had problems.
You were proline.
So, okay, but they're here today. So why are y'all doing all that?
Before you take this bride, I'd like you to know this brother struggled with the...
Exactly. He used to be doing this. I'm like, what?
She was very promiscuous.
that was trifling.
But like, she is...
my dog was out here.
Virtuous now.
Like, you got her attention.
She's coming down the aisle, former stripper. Like here she goes.
Used to dance at Hot Legs. Her name was Diamond Cadillac.
Exactly. That's who you marrying now. So, like, you ain't got to do all that, you know? That's not necessary part. That's not necessary piece of the speech.
Do you take this former
STDs?
Do you take this former stripper to be your lawfully wife?
So I'm like, yes, I do. So I understand. Like, claim yours, but still, it ain't necessary. That wasn't necessary.
It's not
Packers
necessary.
nonsense wasn't necessary, and I just don't understand why the Cowboys drafted old boy first. Like, I was confused. Like, why?
CeeDee Lamb?
Yeah, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, great player. But that wasn't their necessary quick need. They need to fix. So I didn't.
Ma'am.
I understand he's a good player. I never said he wasn't a good player. Now, hear me correctly. I never said he wasn't good.
Ma'am.
I just don't understand why you went and got a wide receiver when you need something else first.
Ma'am.
I digress. It wasn't the question, Vanora, how you feel.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
So that's what I'm just doing right now. I'm just saying that I understand those things, but overall, I enjoyed it.
All right, y'all, we're going to hop into The Last Dance. Y'all ready for this? Because we got episode 3 and 4, right? But if we're talking about the stuff that went down, man, there's a lot that happened, right? And I'm gonna go to Will to start off, right? Since you seem to have a lot to say about it. What'd you feel about the Rodman episode? Let's start there.
The Rodman, I mean, we all knew. Well, I didn't know about his. It was interesting to see him growing up. Like when they talk about when he was younger, I didn't know he was like he's kind of a quiet guy, almost kind of. And they said he was kind of innocent, like he didn't kind of know about stuff. And then it was just interesting to see his upbringing and then how he got kicked out and he was homeless and he would go play ball and then watch the drug dealers on the street doing their thing. But he never got into that, which was awesome because he could have went in a real bad direction. It's not that's not something that's easy at all to be kicked out of your home and living on your own. And so for him to overcome that with and do what he did and pick up a basketball, and then just the thing that stuck out to me though was when he was talking about rebounding. It's like he became a scientist of rebounds. He knew if the ball hit the rim a certain way, where that ball was going. And that's what made him like the best rebounder I ever seen in the game. Like, dude was like, you knew if that ball was coming off the rim, Dennis Rodman was getting that rebound. And so he may not have been a great scorer, but he could rebound and he could play defense. And so, and that's that was one addition to the Bulls that just took them up a level. It's like, yo, if somebody missed a shot, we know we got Rodman down there, down low. He gonna get that rebound. We gonna get another try. Or so. Another thing, I forgot about the whole Carmen Electra thing. I was like, oh, he did mess with Carmen Electra. Then Madonna, I was like, yeah, he was, So he was a different kind of dude, man. But it was good to see how, Phil Jackson kind of related to him by talking about, I guess, Native American artifacts and stuff like that. And they had a connection. And then he respected Michael a lot, and they had their way of communicating. And Michael, he knew Dennis Rodman, and he knew, like, when he gave him that break, like 48 hours, and they talking about when Dennis, who comes and says, I need a vacation. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you could do that at your job where they give you vacation time and stuff like that. You pretty much take it when you want, but when you in sports, like, imagine for guys in the NFL, quarterbacks like, you know what, or wide receiver, I need a vacation, man. I'm gonna I'm gonna miss game day.
Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham Jr. He did that.
Who did?
Odell and the wide receivers for New York. They did that.
No, they didn't do that.
They went.
They came back. They went on vacation
for the game.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's different.
That's before the game.
That's not missing games.
No, he literally, went on a 48-hour vacation.
Yeah. He was gone for like 4 days.
He was missing practice. They were already.
Yeah.
He was missing practices, right?
Yeah.
Look. Here's the cool part about Dennis Rodman, right? Drafted in 1986, round 2, 27th overall from southeastern Oklahoma State, right? And then from there, and you heard how he was mentioned. He was mentioned kind of like the 7th round draft picks in the ESPN draft, right? Like how they just kind of say their names. Oh, let's catch up with these guys, and then let's get back to the first round picks, right? That's kind of how Dennis Rodman was mentioned, and I like the way they kind of showed that. Jay, when you saw, what's so funny? I still want to argue with Venora about CeeDee Lamb, but we're gonna get to that later. We're gonna have we might even do a whole nother interview because we got to argue about it. But Jay, so you get to that situation, right, and you see how Dennis Rodman was picked up, right, and then brought onto that team, and you saw the way he kind of made a name for himself. What were your impressions from his episode?
I enjoyed it. My first thing I was going to talk about was the scientific way that he dissected rebounding. But it was interesting to see Dennis Rodman with the Pistons prior to kind of the changing of the hair and all that stuff, where he was vital and he was a vital aspect of the Bad Boys, and how they were so physical with Michael Jordan. And he was, as David Aldridge, I got his name mixed up, said he was the best on-ball defender that he had ever seen in his life. And we think about how even Michael Jordan won Defensive Player of the Year, one of the best perimeter on-ball defenders at that time, Scottie Pippen, the way that in the 91 finals, how he defended Magic Johnson. But David Aldridge said Dennis Rodman is that guy. And we got to see the transformation of Dennis Rodman from Detroit to San Antonio. We all knew there were issues in San Antonio. That's kind of where things started to go south. But in Chicago, he had already flipped that switch. He was already a little off in the head, changing the hair, the nail paint, all that, fingernail polish, all that kind of stuff. And then that connection where he realized they need him. And I think at that time in his life, he needed to find a place where someone on the court needed him, and the Bulls was that team. And Michael Jordan gave him that confidence. Like, I understand you're a little bit different, a little bit off. I understand, like, the way you think and the way you view basketball, the way you view life is different than all of us. But you're all about winning.
Jay, I got to ask a question real quick before you go And I just want your take on this. The two sides of Rodman that Carmen Electra had showed, and the side that I want to say that Isaiah Thomas had said to this morning. I don't know if you caught that.
I did not catch
There's
this
two
morning.
sides of Rodman. I just want to know. Because one side that they said about Rodman was the whole entire he likes to party. That's how he unwinds or unfolds. And then you got the other side where this kid he never drank. He was around drug dealers and didn't do drugs. I mean, but you go polar opposite. I just want to know. I just want to get your take on that.
The whole opposites, like where he was around the parties and all the things and that stuff, and he didn't drink. I think that goes into okay. So you remember the scene last night where they were doing the running around the court, and he was out in front, and Michael Jordan said it took him 4 laps to catch up with him. Well, they didn't mention it last night, but Dennis Rodman was always in really good shape, and I think he understood that alcohol can hinder his endurance and can hinder him and being in the tip-top shape. They even talked about obviously documentaries of Dennis Rodman, how he, after games, he would play a full game, and then he would go and get on a bike after a game and keep working out and keep getting his body in shape. And so that kind of goes into what those two sides. Yeah, he wanted to party. He was around the drug dealers and all that kind of stuff, but he knew in his mind that if he partook or if he started going down that road in his life, letting those things get into his body, he was allowing things to enter his body that will control his body, and he was ultimately not in control of those things. So the whole drinking, the drugs, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we see players that get caught up into that kind of stuff and how it alters their careers, and how they can't come back into the game and they can't play. And Dennis Rodman, yeah, he was wild, but he understood what it means, the importance of a team and the importance of keeping your body in tip-top shape at all times. And I think that kind of goes hand in hand. Yeah, the drugs, the alcohol, that's one thing, but he knew, hey, I got to keep myself in certain shape to be at the best in the on the court, because he knew if he started to mess up, you saw what he did when he went to Michael Jordan's room and he started talking, knocked on the door. Like, he knew that Mike was going to get on his case, or there may be a little tension on the court. So that's how I've always liked Dennis, because he does have a bad reputation because people see the wild side, but that other side you talked about, it's how Dennis Rodman continues to be one of the best guys in so many people's eyes for his work ethic and things like that.
Voice, we haven't heard from you on this topic yet. How'd you feel about Dennis Rodman as a player? Watching him while he was on the court, how'd you feel about him as a player?
Dennis Rodman as a player, he was a trendsetter, and more so than just the wild things that he would wear, both on and off the court, and trying to see what color his hair was going to be this day. Nobody really talked about rebounding until Dennis Rodman really started putting in that work as far as rebounds are concerned. That's when you start hearing commentators speak about, hey, a rebound is pretty much just like someone scoring 2 points. So if you look at each rebound as somebody scoring 2 points, that's what Dennis Rodman is doing. He changed the game, as has been stated already before. The science that the way that he broke things down, they haven't talked about it yet, but I really hope that they do. His ability to tip the ball, you always saw him tip, moving the ball to wherever it is that he wanted to be, and then taking it from there. But yeah, he changed and revolutionized the game. They talked about him giving up 100 pounds to Shaq when they were on their way to the finals. They had to go through the Magic at that time. And the mind games, oh my goodness. That man was a genius. They touched on it a little bit with Karl Malone. He took Karl Malone absolutely out of the game. Both times that they played. I mean, the dude was a beast.
Vanor, how are you enjoying this series?
I'm enjoying it. I like the documentaries. I'm learning a lot because I wasn't born through most of this. Like, I was 2 when Dennis Rodman was on the Bulls. So it was just like, I didn't really get to enjoy it. But I learned a lot about him. Like, he's a whole vibe, like a completely different vibe, but like a fun vibe. And I realized, like, I've seen like interviews of him, like kind of like probably around the 2000s times that I can remember. And it was just like everyone may have said he just was a crazy individual, but now I'm learning like no, like this is I knew he was a good basketball player, but now I'm seeing how great he was. Like you guys are saying, like he really did bring in the attention of rebounding, how important it is to a team and how it changes things. Like I learned a lot throughout this entire docu-series, and I can't wait to learn more.
And last thing, we'll kind of end off with JT. If there's something else that you want to learn, so what do you want to see in the next upcoming episodes?
I plan on watching episode 3 and 4 tonight, but I'm curious to see, like you said, y'all haven't really told everything to me, but I'm curious to see how they transcended Dennis Rodman and how they really got him to the Bulls. Because I don't know how. I know he was in Detroit and how he was in San Antonio, but I don't know what caused it. Was it a trade to Chicago or was it a free agent signing? So I'm really curious to see how that.
Trade.
It was a trade. Okay. So I'm going to watch that tonight. But I was just looking at his stats, man. His career stats, he averaged 13 rebounds a game. Like 7 points, 13 rebounds a game, 1 assist. Like, and he was an interesting player to me. Like, he was weird, but weird in a good way. I was hearing this to you guys and hearing on the radio this morning how he took a vacation to Vegas and Jordan had to go to his room and say, "Come on, let's go play."
Look, I'm gonna tell you something. What you're gonna love to see is you're gonna love what they talked about earlier. That transition from him being a kid and him being like an innocent player with Detroit, but not really innocent. You know what I mean? Like him being a part of the Bad Boys. You're gonna love seeing that, and then you're gonna love seeing that transition into him kind of getting with Madonna, and Madonna actually
turned him out.
Yeah, Madonna kind of shaping his mind and basically saying, "Hey, look, you're a brand, and you got to brand yourself, right? And you got to find a way so people know who you are." The coolest part I think about him is he understood his limitations and understood his strengths and operated completely in his strengths. Yeah. And I think that made him legendary to me, right?
I got a question. So, do you think these next couple of episodes? Do you think they're gonna highlight the whole team, or now now you got Pippen out the way, you got Jordan out the way, you got Phil out the way, you got Rodman out the way? Who do you think is going to be next? You think Kukoc and Kerr gonna have a segment together? How do you think they're gonna break it down?
I think they're gonna have to break down the competition at some point, right? I mean, they did break down Detroit, right? Which was something they had to go through, but there was a lot of other players that he had to really, really go through. Right, Reggie Miller is somebody he had to go through.
Right.
And yeah. I wish Austin was on here, because I was talking about completely more than just hand checking. Like what they did for Jordan was more.
Oh yeah, it was way more than hand checking.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Jordan rules.
My thing is, like, if Jordan was in his prime playing in today's rules, he would easily average 10 to 15 more points a game. Like
easy.
40 to 40 easy. Because you know what I'm saying, the foul they was regular fouls back then. They could knock it out.
Bruh. What they did to him was criminal. That was assault on the highest level.
Yo, like that was stuff assault. Like on the playing street ball where cats were getting the fights.
Yeah, right. Look, and the cool part about it is when all that ended. We gotta go, man. But next time we talk, we gotta talk about his relationship with Isaiah Thomas. That feels like it's gonna be a timeout.
I think that's coming.
I think that's coming up soon. I think they're gonna do the Dream Team coming up soon. I think
they talked about it. They talked about it in episode 4 where they talked like you heard. They showed him what Isaiah said. I don't think they're gonna go into it no deeper. They showed him what Isaiah said.
Going in deep.
Oh, I think they will.
Yeah, you have to with the Dream Team.
They just at 91. They got to go to 92 in the Dream Team, and there was multiple people in that didn't like Isaiah, not just Michael, but Michael was the best player.
So you think they're gonna revisit his hatred for Isaiah Thomas?
Just probably get different aspects of it. Oh yeah, they have to, because if you're gonna keep going chronologically with his championships and through his career, you get to 92. That Dream Team aspect, that's huge, and Isaiah wasn't there mainly because of Michael, but there's other players there on the team that, as I've been told, they didn't want Isaiah on the squad either.
And Shaq should have been there instead of Christian Laettner.
Yes, 100%.
Jordan want Jordan on the team? Jordan want Isaiah on the team?
No,
none of the
Oh,
dream
see,
team.
this is look. You gotta go see it. You gotta go watch it. So
I can hint
Gotta go
at it
watch
in these
go
episodes.
watch it, and you'll find out why.
And guys, I want y'all to keep in mind something too. You know, they already did a little series between Magic and Isaiah.
Yeah.
So you know, Magic had something to say about him going on that dream team. So I'm just
Oh, he
saying.
did.
You know,
Look,
he did.
Look,
So-
I'm gonna say this though. If you look at it all the way, right? You check out like Jordan is mad today. Like
right.
like you could go talk to Jordan right now and
Mhm.
say, "Hey, Jordan, how do you feel about Isaiah Thomas?" And I guarantee you, he'll use more curse words than he used on screen.
Oh,
Like
word.
he does not like that individual.
No.
I mean, it's not a joke. It's not like not a thing. And that's why I said it sounds like a timeout because and as you guys, if you don't know, if you're watching right now, listen to us where's the forgiveness? Here, there's no forgiveness. And look, it's not hurting Isaiah. Look at Isaiah. He's smiling, kicking it in the interview.
That's all
he don't
do
care.
is smile.
Yeah, Isaiah like, man, we ain't shake no hands, man. That's the way it went back in the day.
Isaiah would. Hey, if y'all watched this morning on, I think was it First Take? No, skipping Shannon Undisputed.
Mhm.
I think Isaiah came on there, and you know Isaiah was like, "Yo, I'm from the southwest side of something, Chicago." He's like, "Man, I got it." He's like, "If you got something to say to me, say it to me, to my face. Don't be going behind my back." He was like,
said that.
Got something to say about somebody. I don't do the on the record, off the record stuff. He's like, I'm gonna tell you. And so I had to respect Isaiah for that. Like I was like,
They set the boxing match up, man. Like, let's get this grudge over with. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Who wouldn't pay to see Jordan fight Isaiah Thomas? Put the gloves on.
Jordan
Jordan
don't want that smoke.
Jordan will win that one.
Put the gloves on.
Jordan don't want that smoke.
Not with all that rotundness in front of him these days.
Put the gloves on. He looked too chill. Put the gloves on.
Jordan did not want that smoke.
Jordan look like Butterball now, don't he?
Yo, thank y'all so much for joining us, man. It's been an awesome episode. I'm thankful for everybody who's here. Last week we got a chance to talk about the winner of our contest. We're gonna actually do another contest coming up here soon. So please listen every week and get a chance to be a part of these contests. We've been paying out. Actually, Venora's contest went off last week. Venora had a cool, awesome birthday contest that she highlighted here. Actually did during the week. We had another winner pop up. The video's out already. I mean, look, we're giving away stuff. You got to listen to participate. You got to be a part of the whole crew in order to understand what's happening, man. And look, and when we put up something, it's happening ASAP. You feel me? Hey, this is MTNV Sports. We're happy to have you guys, and we'll see y'all next week. God bless.
Okay, so
Hold on.